Hey Met fans, Brian here, back again with another video. Before we get started, this is a new channel, and I'd appreciate if you like the content that you're viewing, if you could like the video, as well as subscribe to the channel. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover, any feedback in general, or on this specific video or any other, please leave it in the comments. I welcome any and all. Now, Mets and Yankees, the tie of the game apiece, the rubber game set for Sunday evening, 7:10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. In my previous video, I previewed the series on a whole, as well as made some predictions. Let's see how well I did. In Game 1 on Friday night, what I said needed to happen in order for the Mets to win was that McGill needed to get ahead early in the count, because when he falls behind, batters have a substantial batting average against them. McGill needed to get through this lineup with minimal damage twice. Hopefully by that point, he's given you close to 5 innings, because the difference in his batting average against from the first time around the lineup to the third is 120 points. And the third time around the lineup is what did him in. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to give the Mets 5 innings. He wasn't even able to give them 3 innings. McGill's final line reads 2 2/3. He allowed 4 runs and 4 hits, 5 walks, while striking out 4. The walks are ultimately what did him in. He walked 4 batters in the bottom of the third inning alone, 3 of the last 4 batters he faced, including Oswald Peraza, and a sub-200 batting average with the bases loaded. Now, when it came to Rodon, I said the Mets wanted to avoid getting behind the count early against him. They have to get to him early in the count, and if he's going to miss early and have control issues, they can't help him. The Mets only fell behind 0-2 and 1-2 5 times out of the 21 batters he faced. On the other hand, he went to 3-ball counts 9 times, 8 of them full counts. The Mets did draw 4 walks, but the Mets only managed to get 2 hits. So Rodon limited the damage, only allowing 1 run in 5 innings. He exited after the Mets worked his pitch count to 102 pitches. At the end of the day, McGill pitched poorly. He struggled with his control, especially of his secondary pitches. He did have some early success with his fastball in the first 2 innings, but then he went away from it, and he couldn't get out of the third inning. The Mets defense also had a couple of plays that didn't help him. It didn't help the outcome of this game, but Rodon wasn't at his sharpest. But the Mets weren't able to take advantage of him, and he gutted through 5 innings. And that's the exact thing I thought the Mets needed from McGill. Rodon gutted through 5 innings, turned it over to the bullpen, and the bullpen finished the game out. I thought McGill needs to go 5 innings. The bullpen for the Mets were going to play a huge part in this game. The Mets bullpen did go 5 1/3. They allowed 2 runs, but ultimately it was the Yankees bullpen that came out huge in this game. The game was turned over to them in the 6th inning. They went the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. 4 innings, only allowed 1 run. They secured the win. Now, Saturday's game was Griffin Canning against Clarke Schmidt. What I said was a key for this game was that Canning needs to get an early groove. Since batters were hitting better against him the first time on the lineup than the subsequent times, he needed to get going early. And I thought maybe he would have to have the strikeout going early to get through this lineup. And what he did was he got the Yankees out in a variety of ways. He mixed his pitches very well. He retired the side in order the first 2 times. In the third, he did allow 1-out home run, then a 2-out single in front of Aaron Judge, but he struck out Judge to end the 3rd inning. Now, I said once he got to the 3rd time around the order, it was time for the Mets bullpen to be on standby, but he was great. He got through the 3rd time in the order. He even started the 4th time in the order when he completed the 5th inning. But Mendoza kind of pushed his luck. He threw Canning back out there for the 6th inning. Cody Bellinger led off with a home run. The Yankees threatened some. They went to the bullpen. Brazoban came on, and he got the Mets out of trouble. So really, Mendoza probably should have went with Brazoban to start the 6th inning. Now for Schmidt, he tends to pitch well the first time through the lineup, and then the second time he gets banged around some. I thought the Mets needed to put pressure on him, score the first time through the lineup, maybe manufacture a run or 2, and then just, continue on the second time. But he stayed true to his trend. He retired the Mets in order, 3 up, 3 down, the first 3 innings. And then the 4th inning, second time around the lineup, the Mets' first 3 batters reached. Lindor walked. Soto lined a single to right field. Alonso lined a single to left field, which drove in Lindor, gave the Mets 1 run. Then Nimmo struck out, and Soto stole third. Put himself in position. Marquientos hit a sac fly, and then the Mets had the 2nd run. So this game pretty much ended up becoming a battle of the bullpens. And before the series started, I gave the Mets the slight edge on that. The Yankees bullpen has been good, but the Mets bullpen is better. and is better because it has more depth in the bullpen. Huascar Brazoban was huge for the Mets. He came on for Cannon with Dominguez at third, 1 out, the bottom of the 6th inning. He got C.J. Escara to hit a ground ball to Alonso, who came in on it, fielded it perfectly, threw home, perfect throw to Torrens. Torrens tagged Dominguez out at home for the 2nd out. And then he got DJ LeMahieu, who homered early in the game, to hit a ground ball to Brett Beatty, who threw the 2nd, forcing out Escara for the 3rd out. Now in the top of the 7th inning, the Mets lost the opportunity to have a big inning here against Mark Leiter Jr. They had 1 out, Brett Beatty at first. Tyrone Taylor lined a double to left center field, hit the wall, bounced back over the head of Jason Dominguez, but Cody Bellinger was positioned perfectly backing him up, went right to him. He made a perfect relay throw to Volpe, who then threw home, and that nailed Beatty at the plate. So Beatty was sent. He slid. Problem was he kind of leaned back on his slide, so he slid up and over the plate, not across the plate, which allowed Escara to tag him out. Had he slid properly, probably would have been safe. But here's the thing. I wouldn't have sent him, whether he slid correctly or not. I think at that position, you leave him at third, you hold him up. You have 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Francisco Lindor is coming up to bat. Then you have Juan Soto behind him. Now, in the bottom of the 7th inning, another big moment for Brazoban. Trent Grisham pinch hit for Vivas, leading off. And Brazoban got him to hit a ground out to Beatty. Then Ben Rice came up, grounded out to Lindor, 2 quick outs, brought up Aaron Judge. And he struck out Judge on a 2-2 cutter down and away, and he got Judge to chase, and in the 7th inning. So Garrett Reed then came on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning, and he kind of walked a tightrope. He gave up 3 walks and a hit, but didn't give up a run. So, top of the 9th inning, the Mets took the lead off of Fernando Cruz, who's been huge for the Yankees this season. After Jeff McNeil lined out to Cody Bellinger in center field for the 1st out, Luis Torrens took some close pitches and walked. So Luis Angel Acuna came on to pinch run for him, and he advanced to second base on an infield single by Brett Beatty. Beatty hit a ball between 1st and 2nd. LeMahieu ranged over to his left. He was able to stop it, but not make a play on it. He was able to keep the ball in the infield, which kept Acuna at second base. He more than likely would have advanced to third base if the ball went to right field. So the Mets have 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Tyrone Taylor up, and Taylor gets hit. So now you have bases loaded. Francisco Lindor up, and he did his job. He had a fly ball to left center field. Bellinger caught it. He threw home, but it was too late to get the speedy Acuna. Sac fly, and the Mets now have a 3-2 lead. So that's what the score was. Going into the bottom of the 9th inning, Edwin Diaz on the mound, a perfect 9 for 9 of save opportunities. He made quick work of Austin Wells, striking him out on a foul tip held by Francisco Alvarez. Ben Rice then got jammed, hit a soft line drive to third base, kind of the third base line that Beatty snagged. 2 outs. And that set the stage. Diaz versus Judge. Diaz got ahead of Judge quickly, 0-2. Then he kind of, worked off the plate, senior Judge would chase. The count got even, 2-2. Then he got Judge to foul back, 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Judge looked like he was really behind on that and was lucky to foul that off. And then Diaz tried to come back with a slider to get him chasing, but it was nowhere near the plate. Now the count's full. So with the Mets leading 3-2, Diaz pitching to Judge, full count. Diaz goes up and in, 99-mile-per-hour fastball, getting it past Judge, swings and misses, and that ends the game. So Cannon pitched well. Mets bullpen, which is one of the biggest strengths thus far, came up big, and Diaz shut the door on the Yankees to secure the win in Game 2. That takes us into Game 3. Sunday night, ESPN, a battle of lefties. David Peterson is 2-2, 3.05 ERA, going up against the Yankees' Max Fried, 6-0, 1.11 ERA. Now, the edge here goes to the Yankees. Fried has been fantastic. Some keys to the Mets to win this game is, can they get to Fried early in the count? Or can they get in favorable counts against him? He's been having a tremendous year thus far, but 6 of his 9 starts have been against the AL teams who have either not seen him or not seen much of him. Now, the Mets are very familiar with Fried from his time with the Atlanta Braves. That familiarity should help them. Alonso, McNeil, Soto have had success against him with large enough sample sizes, while Lindor, Nimmo, Marte have struggled badly. Taylor and Beatty have some success and limited at-bats. Lefties are hitting only 140 against them this year, but last year they hit 321. So there has been a history of lefties having some success against them. I would prefer to see McNeil in the lineup, and preferably Beatty as well. Put Beatty at third, DH Vientos, put McNeil in left, Acuna second, and Taylor in center. You can bring Nimmo off the bench to pinch hit versus a righty later on in the game, but Nimmo has been dreadful against Reed. Additionally, David Peterson, who the Yankees have not seen much of. Which version of Peterson is going to come to this game? Which version of Peterson is going to show up? We haven't seen Peterson go any further than 6 innings in the start of the season. And he's been very inconsistent. We've seen the Peterson who strikes out 9 and doesn't walk a batter. We've seen him strike out 2 and get 13 ground balls. We've seen him walk 3 or 4 and strike out 6 or 7. With this lineup, Peterson can't do what McGill did and allow so many free passes. That's an instant recipe for failure. Another thing to watch is the Yankees don't chase much, while Peterson has a high chase rate. Something is going to have to give. I think if Peterson can get the walks to a minimum, utilize the ground ball, and the Mets put the proper infield defense behind him, and if Peterson can get 6 innings, the Mets will be in a good spot to win this game. So we're going to likely need some big outs from Ryan Stanek, who hasn't pitched in this series, but has pitched better of late. So what do you think, Met fans? Do you have faith in Peterson in this game? Brazoban going in inning 2/3, do you think the Mets would use him in this game? What about Garrett? If the Mets bullpen is limited to Kranick, Stanek, and Budo, and Diaz if there's a safe situation, how do you feel about that? Let me know in the comments. I'll be back to recap this game, as well as provide any other noteworthy Mets news. But until then, Mets fans, let's go Mets.